Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Angie, the MC for today for the Vegfest Hong Kong. Joining us now is Mr. Alex Derycz. It's the first on Hong Kong interview. Thank you so much for joining us here from Tokyo, Japan.
Thanks so much for having me.
So Alex, also known as the Vegan Prince, was born in Los Angeles and moved to Japan in 2017. He is a model and writer for Elle Magazine Online and Sankei Digital. He also co-founded DMM Vegan for plant-based athlete management and influencer casting. So I also heard that you have different cultural backgrounds. Instead of just American, you have like French or something else?
Yeah, that's true. I'm actually half French, quarter Mexican, quarter Ukrainian, but again, I was born and raised in Los Angeles in the United States. So,
did you become a vegan when you lived in the US?
I did when I was 17 years old, actually. I believe 11th grade in high school.
And what did your family think about this?
So, yeah, exactly. Especially having a French mother, it didn't go down too well at first, I have to say. And yes, because traditional French cuisine isn't really vegan friendly. And yeah, but it was, I think, about a year later when I took my first blood test and my results came back better than all my other five immediate family members. And they were like, okay, maybe all right,
There's some merits to that, maybe, yeah. Cool. And after moving to Japan, did you find the transition hard as a vegan?
So for me, yeah, I had heard, that Japan was going to be difficult, but then again, it was never really a question of, how am I going to do it? It's just I'm going to go there, see what there is, and just figure something out. I'm also usually kind of go with the flow kind of guy, and when I did come here, especially with having a lack of Japanese ability, so reading the Japanese characters, the kanji was also really difficult for me at first, and so I had no idea how to determine whether something was vegan or not. And yes, I spent a lot of time, just painstakingly looking up, making a lot of mistakes as I went, things that I thought were vegan that weren't, and things that I thought were not vegan that actually were vegan. And so a lot of trial and error and learning, looking things up. And now I know a lot better. Yeah.
And that's so true. A lot of ingredients are hard enough in English, let alone that's in a completely foreign language, and then you really don't know what that is. And in America, sometimes you look at a food label, they will have an allergy information that contains dairy, contains eggs, and so it's easier, isn't it? But in Japan, does the food label show you all this kind of allergy information?
They do show allergy information, but sometimes you're not sure if it's because they're actually using an animal-derived ingredient, or whether the product was just created in a shared space in a factory where they also use fabricate dairy products, for example. And so it can be a bit difficult to know the difference there.
That's true. So have you found something you love that looks vegan, but it's actually not? Just like, for example, I've used this example before, Korean kimchi. It looks like it's so innocent, isn't it? It's just cabbage and some chili. It should be plant-based, but it's not. Is there anything like that that you've encountered in Japan?
Yes, I mean, all the time, because I have to say, most vegan, most Japanese cuisine, it actually looks really vegan when you first look at it, because traditional Japanese cuisine uses a lot of different vegetables and plants to create their food. And when you don't see meat or you don't see fish on it, you're like, oh, okay, maybe this works for me. But then it's always the little hidden ingredients, the pork extract, the fish extract, all these kinds of different, dashi. And yeah, it's the little things that'll get you here.
So how should vegans accommodate to this kind of Japanese food? And is there anything that we can adapt to? Are restaurant people pretty friendly about that? Say, oh, can you make that vegan or can you make that vegetarian?
So again, I believe in Tokyo, you can be accommodated a lot better. But there are so many restaurants also where, for example, you order a meal from a machine, and you get a ticket, and that's what you get. And when I tried to get the order changed there, it didn't really go down as well. So, it really depends on where you are. But then again, I feel like becoming prepared, being prepared is a really good thing. Using Happy Cow, using also Veggie Project, which they have a veggie map with all kinds of different vegan-friendly stores on there. And also, for example, what I used to do is prepare my own suyu, prepare my own kind of Japanese soup, and then I would go to the udon store and then just have, because they offer just the noodles and then you can choose the soup yourself, kind of. So it depends on the store, but I would just use my own homemade one and go with that instead.
That's a good idea. That's interesting. And are there any restaurants or any little districts in Tokyo that you recommend us to go when we can travel again? That is vegan friendly, or they have a lot of cool and pretty nice vegan cafes?
Yeah, I mean, wow. Honestly, there are so many really great vegan spots here because while the percentage, so to speak, of vegans and vegetarians here in Japan is still really, really low, I really do feel like Japanese vegan food is like of real quality. All the meticulous care and the traditional attention to detail that Japan is really known for. That also translates really well to their Japanese vegan food, where you go to some restaurants and you wouldn't believe just how perfect the dessert is. And yeah, just like the image, just like the advertisement, and what you get, it's exactly the same, even if it's vegan. And that's one of the great parts about living here as a vegan.
You are making us very jealous here. I hope that we can travel soon. As a model, have you met other fellow vegan models in Japan, or are you a very rare breed? Because it's not easy in the fashion industry.
Yeah, so I feel like when I first got here, I really didn't see many other people doing what I was doing. But then again, I didn't really start modeling with the intention of, oh, I'm going to be an ethical model or I'm going to be a vegan plant-based model, because it seems so far out of reach, so to speak. Like that thing is kind of still impossible in these current environments in the Japanese modeling world. But recently, other than myself, there are quite a number of both Japanese and also foreign models who are vegan themselves or vegetarian themselves. And a lot of them who are also promoting things like ethical fashion and plant-based eating. So the landscape is changing a lot, that's for sure.
And how do you handle jobs that might not be exactly in line with the vegan philosophy of causing no harm or animal suffering? Since the fashion industry is quite notorious for using animal products, right? Like leather, fur, wool, silk, and down.
Yes, exactly. So that was kind of a hard trade-off, I would say. And I didn't really have the liberty to be as picky as I wanted to when I first started. But especially recently, I've been trying to introduce, to choose jobs, be more selective with the jobs I take. And even if the job wasn't 100% vegan, I found that just going to the job as a vegan, because they often have to prepare food for you, right? They often ask you what kind of food you'd like, or even if they don't ask you, you go there and you're like, oh, actually, I can't eat this, sorry. And then they'll be like, oh, what can you eat? What is vegan? And I feel like that serves as like, a good stepping stone for them to know more about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's just by being there, having a presence, you're already spreading the message. And do you see a trend of having more ethical fashion in Japan or around the world?
Yes, I do definitely see a trend towards, even if it's not vegan fashion, at least ethical fashion or sustainable fashion. And that's true both in Japan, but especially abroad. And one of the good things with fashion is that, unlike food, you can actually import whatever products you like. So that's what I've been doing a lot with my, accessories, bags, or things like that. I, find some good brands that I like that produce both sustainable, ethical, and vegan fashion, and I have them, ship them over to me over here in Japan. So that's one of the good parts of it, but there are definitely a lot more stores and a lot more different labels. Like you'll see a lot more organic, sustainable, ethically sourced bamboo, things like that. A lot more labels in stores nowadays.
What other advice do you have to maybe veganize our clothes and accessories so we can still look cool and kind at the same time?
Yeah, so I definitely look using the internet, I think, is one of the best things because there's so many amazing brands where even if they don't have a store near you, you can get nearly whatever you want online, and that goes a long way towards supporting these ethical brands and getting them more popularity and helping them get out there. And so I actually have a few of my favorite items here with me if you'd like to see.
Yes,
Um,
please.
yeah, like for example, I got this like messenger bag kind of from Corker.
Mm.
So this is actually made entirely out of cork.
Oh, really? It doesn't look like that at all.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's really durable. It's waterproof, all kinds of things. So that's great. Actually, the notebook I was using too right here, this is from a Japanese company that imported these products. This is a notebook made out of apple.
Apple.
Yeah,
Wow. That's innovative.
yeah, a peel. It's made in Italy apparently. So there you go.
Oh,
And one of my favorite things actually is actually this backpack which I have right here, which this is made out of upcycled bicycle tires.
ah.
So you can actually feel the material, and if you actually look really closely, you can see like different markings and different even symbols and letters and numbers from the old tires that are still remaining.
Well, you mentioned about Italy and all these and talking about Europe, and I want to go back to your cultural roots a little bit. I'm
Yeah.
curious, what is French vegan food?
Yes, French vegan food, that's a good question. Yeah, it's actually a bit more difficult, I feel, than Japanese vegan food. Actually, traditional French cuisine, there is a lot that isn't vegan, unfortunately.
Hmm.
But there are a lot of things that are coming out. I mean, bread has been traditionally very vegan, and I really look forward to see what restaurants in France come up with. Because the last time I went, already in Paris, there was a really booming vegan and plant-based scene there, with many restaurants popping up all over the place. So, yeah.
And Alex, is there anything else you want to share with us about the vegan culture, whether in Japan or from your hometown, or anything that's interesting that you want to share with us, something that might be very new to us in this part of the world?
I'm sure many of you have heard that Japan is a really vegan unfriendly place, and that it can be really difficult to live as a vegan here. And while I'm not gonna deny that and say that that's not true, coming to Japan and actually living here, I feel like even though the vegan food is a lot less widespread for now, the quality of the vegan food that you will find here is like nowhere else.
Hmm.
And I believe also near Tokyo, a place called Saito, you have the #1 ranked vegan restaurant on Happy Cow, not just in Tokyo, not just in Japan, but in the entire world. I believe the #1 ranked Happy Cow vegan restaurant is right here in Tokyo. And again, you go to a vegan sweets place, you see the sweets on the advertisement, that's what you get, and it's delicious. It's as delicious as it looks. So there's a lot of different aspects of Japanese culture which you can, really have a great time with, even if you're a vegan, even if you're a vegetarian.
Definitely we'll have to talk more next time. But thank you so much for speaking with us today. It's really great to have you here.
No, it was a pleasure, and I look forward to learning more about the vegan scene in Hong Kong myself as well.
Yeah, come here. We'll be the tour guide.
It'd be much appreciated. Thanks.
I'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.